On this episode of Cinema Disaster, we're going to be talking about the 1986 John Hughes classic, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And we got a special guest today on the show, Sam, who specifically wanted to come on the show today because this film has impacted his life or had a big influence on his life. So I guess tell the two people that are watching why this film is important to you or why you wanted to come on the show.
Just because I saw it when I was pretty young, and it I don't know, it just kind of helped me realize at a very young age that sometimes you just want to have fun, and that's okay. Like sometimes it's good to take a break from life and just like actually experience things. So
we just watched the movie, and you told me something about the scene with Charlie Sheen in it. What was the whole deal? You said he had like a name or something in the backstory that wasn't in the movie.
yeah. They filmed the whole backstory, and he has a name. What was it? Garth
Volbex.
Volbex. Yeah, Garth Volbex. And originally that was supposed to be a much larger role, but when they actually went to edit it, the original edit of the film was like 3 hours long. So unfortunately, much to John Hughes' dismay, that's some of the stuff that got cut, was like all of the backstory for Charlie Sheen.
And you said there was a bigger part with Louis Anderson's character.
Yeah, he had a bigger scene in that you don't even like in the theatrical run, you don't even know it's Louis Anderson. It just shows the flower guy walking back to the van, and then Mr. Rooney gives him the finger or whatever. But yeah, there was a whole exchange between Mr. Rooney and Louis Anderson, and that also got cut.
What's nuts is you said that this film was like 3 hours or something in the final cut. And John Hughes wrote this film in less than a week. And they shot it, I think, from September of 85 to November of 85. So it was like around 2 months to shoot the whole thing, which is nuts for like a film, especially like one that's like a 3 hour cut in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony Michael Hall was, I think, originally offered the role for Alan Ruck's character of Cameron, but he turned it down. And then he had a role, he was offered the role of Ducky in Pretty in Pink, but he turned that down, and obviously the character went to John Cryer, because Anthony Hall had been in some previous John Hughes films like Weird Science, and he was in 16 Candles, and he didn't want to get typecast as like that geek character or whatever. He was also in National Lampoon's Vacation, and
wasn't he in Breakfast Club?
He was, and he was in the Breakfast Club as well. Vacation was written by John Hughes, but it was directed by oh my God, brain freeze. The dude from Ghostbusters, Egon. You know what I'm talking about?
Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis directed that. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know he directed that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was based on a story that John Hughes wrote for National Lampoon magazine called Vacation 56, and then he ended up writing the screenplay, and then Harold Ramis directed it. But yeah, so I don't know, what else do you want to say about the movie?
Well, let's see.
So we talked about a ton of shit when we were watching it, and now we're sitting here
we're no, it's an awesome movie. Something I love about the movie is that it's really fun. It's really funny. It's almost like a cartoon at parts. You know, we talked about that, like the phone calls. There's no way they could have the foresight to be able to like switch lines.
Like when they're doing the Abe Froman thing.
Yeah. There's no way that in real life anyone would have that kind of foresight, but they do it, impeccably. It's like a cartoon. But then there's also like really serious parts, like Cameron I know at least Cameron and Ferris specifically address the future. I don't know. I don't think Sloane has any drawn out sort of monologue about the future, but she does kind of talk about it a little bit. But like serious moments.
Yeah, he talks about well, Cameron. I am Cameron in real life because I am a hypochondriac.
Yes.
So I mean, how many times have I told you in my life? Like, 'cause me and him have played in several bands together, and we've known each other for so long. Like, how many times have I told you that I'm dying?
Too many to count, and you're not dying. You just can't think of anything good to do.
Exactly.
Right there.
So, also another thing about this film, Richard Edson makes an appearance in this film. When they drop the car off to the two, what are they, like valets, valet mechanics or whatever, that take the car out for like the
joyride.
It's Larry Flash Jenkins from, you might recognize from Armed and Dangerous with John Candy and Eugene Levy. Also, he was in Fletch with Chevy Chase. But the other guy, the driver of the car, Richard Edson, who was in Howard the Duck, and he's been in countless other movies. He's the original drummer for Sonic Youth.
Yeah, I didn't know that till you told me that. The nose.
Yeah.
That's what you called him, the guy with the nose. You said the guy with the nose.
Richard Edson, yeah.
He's the original drummer for Sonic Youth.
Now, what were you saying about that car? You were telling me about the car was like, there was...
Yeah,
it was put on a different body or something.
Yeah, what was it? A Ferrari, I think. And they had the actual, a real 1960 whatever Ferrari for the movie, like the actual legit car, and it wouldn't start more than it would. So they actually built a fake fiberglass body in the shape of the body for that car, and they put it on a different frame for a lot of the scenes. And like the scene, obviously, where the car shoots out the back of the garage and falls, down to its death, that was the fake car. And
you said they only had one take on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously. Like, what are they going to rebuild the window and everything? And yeah, they were really worried about that shot. And funny thing, I didn't bring this up when we were watching it, but there was more to that than just running the car backwards on the jack to get it to shoot out, because John Hughes said he wanted it to like fly out. So what they actually did was they had like a series of ropes attached to the back of it. Obviously they edited it in such a way that you don't see that, but and those went out, like, I forget, they explain it in a documentary I saw, and I forget how it all worked, but the ropes went out somewhere and went over trees and through pulleys and shit around like a corner to a road, and they were attached to a pickup truck. And when the driver of the truck got the signal, go, that's why it shoots out with such ferocity. That was because it's literally being pulled out by another vehicle. And that was another one of their worries, like, because again, one take, like, they didn't know, they just had to guess, and I think it turned out well.
Oh yeah, I mean, this whole movie like turned out great. I know John Hughes said when he made it, he intended to, he wanted to capture the essence of what Chicago is, or the city of Chicago. That's where John Hughes is from.
Yeah.
Which is why they go to so many places.
Yeah, that's part of the reason that it's...
And I know for a long time, he had talked about a sequel with Matthew Broderick, and they ended up deciding that it didn't really need a sequel. But Alan Ruck actually has an idea for a sequel. He says when him and Matthew Broderick are 70, or in their 70s, it should be where Alan Ruck, which is Cameron's character, he should be Alan Ruck plays the character of Cameron. He's in a nursing home or a hospital of some sort, because he's a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
And then Ferris Bueller comes and breaks him out, and then they go see the city, kind of have one last good time together, and then at the end, like, Cameron dies.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that ever materializes in the next, like, 20 years or so.
Yeah.
And you told me something interesting that I didn't know about Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey, who plays his sister in this film, plays Jeannie.
Yeah, they started dating during the filming of it, and I thought it was apparent in the film, but apparently it's not. But I guess I saw somewhere like
You said you saw the outtakes or something.
But there's a scene near the end of the movie where Ferris gets home, and Mr. Rooney catches him, and it's like, oh shit, and Jeannie opens the door and lets Ferris in, but there's like a whole bit of dialogue, and there's an outtake out there somewhere, I'm sure multiples, really, where she is just like giddy, like she cannot control herself, and she said that that's because when they were filming that scene, all she could think about, was basically, that they're together. They've been doing they've been doing the love dance together. Yeah. And it was like in the outtake I saw, it was you could tell.
Yeah. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
And
it's even, like I said, it's even in the movie, I think it's kind of apparent, like when she says, like, once you know that, when she says scoot on up to bed, and like the look on Matthew Broderick's face is sort of like, I don't know.
There was more backstory to why she hated Ferris Bueller so much, and I remember reading about it, saying that they left this out of the movie, of course, but it was that it was they did leave a lot out, but it was that he like pissed on the bathroom seat or something, and she sat in it or something like that.
Really?
And that was like part of her. Plus, she always thought that Ferris was the favorite of the children or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was another thing they kind of left out of the.
Well, at least she made the cut, because there were two other siblings, two little siblings.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And they got completely cut out of the film. Yeah, so.
I know, who else haven't we talked about? I know we talked about actors in this movie. Jeffrey Jones playing Ed Rooney. Edie McClure, who plays his assistant. Grace.
I don't think they ever say her last name.
Yeah, and Mia Sara, who plays
Sloane.
You know her.
Sloane Peterson.
You probably know her from the movie Legend with Tom Cruise. Another cool movie. Lord of Darkness, it's a good flick. Jeffrey Jones was in Beetlejuice, Sleepy Hollow. He's been in a bunch of 80s movies, I know. I for some reason, my mind's going blank now. Edie McClure obviously was in some Cheech and Chong films and another John Hughes movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Is a fucking awesome movie.
Yeah.
That's like a whole nother video.
Yeah, John Hughes, I grew up watching his films, and his films had a big impact on me as well. Like I said, I grew up with 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Uncle Buck, Weird Science, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Great Outdoors. What else did he do? That's First Vacation, Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on and on and on. He really captured like that, like 80s, like teen comedy, teen angst types of films, I guess. I don't know,
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, even in this movie, like, just like I was saying, the scenes with Ben Stein.
Oh yeah.
Teaching the class, and he's talking, and the kids are just sitting there like they're just so zoned out, just like they're not having it, and that's what high school felt like to me. Example, when Ferris says in the beginning, when he's talking about his tactics for faking being sick, and he says, yeah, it's a bit stupid and childish, but then again, so is high school.
Yeah, another thing cut out of the
That's
script was
perfect.
Ben Stein's name. His character was Mr. Clark, and that was never said. It was in the script, but never said in the film.
Yeah.
And that actual role, like, jump-started his career. It also jump-started Alan Ruck's career, because John Hughes, like, took a chance on him. I remember Alan Ruck said in an interview that movie trumps everything he's ever done. And
Really?
yeah, and
Wow.
he said that he's grateful that John Hughes took a chance on him and took a risk on him because he was a relatively unknown actor at the time, and
Yeah.
this movie, he says, every job he's gotten, after this, it all stems from Hughes taking a chance on him.
Yeah.
Like Matthew Broderick even said, that movie trumps anything he's ever done. And like, I love Matthew Broderick in War Games, and if that's a movie I saw as a kid, and it has a bigger impact on you as an adult. Him and Ali Sheedy, Ali Sheedy also being in The Breakfast Club. That's a movie, if you watched War Games as a kid and you sort of remember it, or maybe you've never seen it, watch it again as an adult, and it'll have like a way bigger, like, the message of it will hit you like way more. And he was good in Project X too, although that movie's like way too depressing as an adult for me to watch.
I'm not sure I've seen that one.
It's
But yeah, I mean, I like those guys too a lot. But I would agree with them. Like, that's by far Ferris Bueller's Day Off is like the best thing almost any of those people have done. I mean, John Hughes, you could argue, because he's made so many great movies.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to cover more Hughes stuff on this show. I know I specifically want to do one about The Breakfast Club and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I know at the end...
I might sit in on that one.
You should
too.
sit on that one, because then you can talk about our Planes, Trains, and Automobiles moment we had in St. Louis.
Yeah, going the wrong way.
Yeah, we'll save that for the next one. And then we can talk about how the ending of that movie, what'd you say, it creeped you out? Or
It's not
weirded you?
creepy, it's just weird. I just think it's weird. But we'll save that for that video.
But yeah, all right. So I'm sure that every person watching, which is what I say, two people, the two people watching, you've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I'm sure you've seen every other John Hughes movie. But see it again. And I know if you're younger and you weren't born until the 90s and you're watching this and you've never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I would highly recommend watching this and go back and just
and pay attention. Like, there's more there. That's part of what I love about the movie and John Hughes movies, is there's more there than you if you're just like casually watching it, that's all, it works. But if you really pay attention and listen to what they're talking about, and then there's like, there's some real shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think so anyway. And that's what always gravitated me towards, Hughes films. Is it's not just like a one-sided or one-dimensional kind of movie, and that's awesome.
Yeah. So until next time, check out Ferris Bueller's Day Off and keep watching.
Incredible. One of the worst performances of my career, and they never doubted it for a second.